Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Luna and I'm an independently published fantasy author and small business owner. I make fantasy-inspired, customizable reading journals called the Bookish Buddy and other bookish-inspired accessories. So last week you came with me to relaunch the digital pages of the Bookish Buddy, and what an adventure that was. If you didn't come along, I will link the video in the description box so you can check it out. And this week is going to be a bit of a mixed bag. I have an author event that I need to prepare for on Friday, and it's time to get stuck in on the physical side of the Bookish Buddy relaunch, which I am super excited about. If that sounds like fun to you, then I would love for you to join me on this mini adventure. So let's get started. Good morning, my friends. It is Monday. And what a weekend we had. For those of you who came along, it was the relaunch of the digital Bookish Buddies, and it was an adventure. There were some challenges, but I did learn some things, and it was all part and parcel of what we're trying to do here. It did not go quite as smoothly as I had hoped, but it is all done now, quest completed, and I am very excited to start the next one. I had quite a relaxing evening last night once everything was done. I did some gaming with my partner and I had an early night, and now I am ready to start the next quest today. And it is another wonderfully grizzly, wet, rainy day here in the UK, which is pretty standard, but that just means it's the perfect opportunity to stay in and get things done. It is just gone 11 o'clock. I have walked the dog, I've done my yoga, and I've done a few chores, and now it is time to get stuck in. This week is going to be a bit of a mixed bag, as I said in the intro. I have an author event on Friday, which will be hosted by Tipsy Books. They are an independent bookstore, and if you're in the UK, especially in the Southwest, you should definitely check them out. As the name would suggest, they are not only a bookstore, but they sell wine and cheese boards, as well as cakes and other beverages, and the owners and all the staff are absolutely fantastic. So I highly recommend them, and I will put a link to their Instagram page below. The event is going to be myself and 3 other fantasy authors. We're going to have a table with our books for sale. We're going to be meeting new readers, and then one of the owners, Heidi, is going to be doing a Q&A with us, and I'm super duper excited. I've only ever done one other author event because I live in the Southwest and there's not very many author events that happen around here, and I can't travel too far. So I'm super excited. I have a few bits of prep that I need to do for it. The first of which is I need to get my card reader working because it did not work at the last event that I went to, and that was a few months ago now, so I need to make sure that that's working. I also was thinking about signing the books ahead of time, but I actually really enjoy signing it with the readers, and then I can personalize the signature and just make it a little bit more of a unique experience. So I'm probably not going to do that. And then finally, I've made some new price sheets and trope lists that I'm going to print out. They are more sort of along the right theme with my business card, and I've got like a banner that goes over my table. So I'm going to print those out, and I've bought some really cute little frames that I'm going to put them in just to put them on my table. And I just think that'll look a bit more aesthetic and a little bit more professional. I don't think filming any of those things are going to be particularly interesting or exciting for you guys, so I probably won't. However, I may take you with me to the actual event, depending on whether or not I can get permission from the bookstore and from the other authors, because I want to make sure everyone's comfortable with me having my camera set up. The other thing that I want to work on this week is the physical Bookish Buddies. I'm super excited about this, and if you haven't picked up on it yet, I have ADHD, and I have been so strict with myself about not starting anything for the physical Bookish Buddies yet. I really wanted to get the digital side of things done first because that's the foundation of what I'm building here. But when I came up with the idea of what I want to do for the relaunch, the ideas that I had were very much centered around the physical journals. And so my brain has been really, really trying to get stuck into the physical side of things, but I've been very, very strict with myself and one thing at a time, focusing on the digital pages. But now they're done, I can unleash my creativity and start work on the physical journals. I think the first thing that I want to work on is a pattern that I need to design. So I can't tell you too much. And I know that's really frustrating. Luna, why are you being so elusive and mysterious? I am just cautious that I haven't announced anything yet on my Instagram or anywhere else about what the new journals are actually going to look like, what the functionality of them is going to be. And that's one of the biggest changes that I'm making in relation to how they were before. But what I can tell you is that I need some fabric. I know, very mysterious. And I've been struggling to find a fabric that's not only the right color, but also the right sort of pattern that meets the vibes of the first theme launch that I'm doing. And I have decided that I'm going to design it myself because I can't find what I'm looking for anywhere. I have found a company that prints custom fabrics, and I've watched a few tutorials on how to do seamless patterns so that it can be produced on a big scale. So my main concern at the moment is that I actually don't know how long this custom fabric is going to take to print and manufacture and ship to me. So I think I'm going to have to design that first because it could take days to get here, it could take weeks, it could even take months, who knows. And I can't really do much in terms of the physical side of things until that arrives. So I think that's going to be my first physical Bookish Buddy task. I do, however, think that I'm going to do the author prep stuff first, just because that will then close that tab in my brain and I have full 100% brain power to work on my creativity and get the seamless pattern designed. So I will go and do that now, and I will check back in with you once I start the design process. Okay, so it is now about 2:30. I've managed to get everything I needed to do ready for the author event. I didn't get my card machine working. However, when I logged into my business PayPal, I realized that we can now do the tap to pay thing. I'm obviously behind the times. And now that that's all sorted, I don't need to do anything else with that. I also managed to print out all the price lists and trope sheets for my table at the author event, and I've put them in their little frames, and I think they look super cute. I do have a fourth one that I need to print out and put in a frame, but I realised I only bought 3 frames. I thought I'd bought 4. So I need to go back to the store to get the fourth one. But other than that, I am completely ready for the author event. So that's awesome. I now have about 3 to 4 hours until my partner gets home from work. So I'm going to get my iPad out and get cracking on designing this seamless pattern, and then I will stop and spend the evening with her because I did not spend very much time with her over the weekend because it was the digital Bookish Buddy launch. And then, yeah, I will keep you guys updated. So come doodle with me. Okay, I also need to apologize. So I've just watched my previous YouTube videos back, and the picture quality is horrific. I am so sorry, everybody. I have done a little bit of a deep dive and realised that number one, I was using the front camera on my phone. Rookie mistake. I was also not using it to the highest resolution. So I have switched to the back camera and a higher resolution. So that should improve the quality. I also realised that CapCut, which is the video editing software that I use, doesn't automatically export the video file at the highest resolution. And I've been exporting the files at a really low resolution. So, lesson learned. I'm very, very sorry about that. Hopefully, from now on, the video quality will be much better. And I apologise for not having realised that in the first place. But like I said, moving forwards, hopefully they will be much better quality. Hello, my friends. It is now Wednesday morning, and I am so sorry for not updating you sooner. I had a bit of a life day yesterday, and I just didn't get around to filming anything. So let me get you up to speed. So on Monday, as planned, I did go onto my iPad and start designing the seamless pattern that I want to use for fabric and some other things. I'm pretty happy with it. I did the first round of designing, got some feedback on it, gave it a little tweak. I'm still not 100% happy with it though, so I think I'm going to go back to it again today and just give it another round of editing. I'm just going to clip in here because I had some issues with my little clicker and I didn't record the next segment like I thought I had. So when I came to edit, that clip didn't exist. So I'm here to refilm it. I was about to say that I was happy with the individual components in the design, but I didn't like the composition. So I didn't like the way each element was laid out. And then when it was repeated to make a pattern, I didn't like the way the pattern looked. as much as I think I could have done. So I went back to the drawing board and I rearranged all the individual elements, and I ended up absolutely loving it in the end, which I will get to a little bit later. At this point in the video, I did also announce the first physical Bookish Buddy theme. So I'm going to do that with you now because otherwise you're not going to know unless you've seen my Instagram post. The first theme for the physical Bookish Buddy is going to be the herbalist. So think lots of green, lots of plants and foliage, very hedge witch, enchanted forest types of vibes. So each theme that's launched is going to consist of 2 different types of Bookish Buddy, the journals themselves, which I do get into in a little bit more detail a little bit later on. The theme will also come with customizable interior content, and this will include a few additional pages and themed pages like the bookshelves, the colouring pages, the challenges, and the divider pages, which will differ from the ones that are already available as part of the digital bundles. It will also include things like sticker sheets, individual die cut stickers, and bookmarks. The overall vision for this is that as multiple themes are launched, they are being designed in a way that once they're available, readers can mix and match from all of the themes. The color palette and some of the design elements are going to cross over and overlap. So, if somebody really likes the green journal from the Herbalist collection, for example, they can use the green journal. But if they prefer the interior content from one of the other themes and the stickers from yet another theme, it is all being designed in a way that it can be completely mixed and matched, so that even as new themes are launched and brought out, it's all going to still work together as a single, fully customizable reading journal system. There are some other physical items that I want to include, but they're things that I can't manufacture myself, and to get them produced by somebody else is going to be really expensive unless I can order them in bulk, in which case the cost per unit is significantly lower. So I think I'm going to have to wait for a little while for some of those because it's just not feasible right now for me to be ordering them in bulk. And I want to make sure that I'm ordering them at a good price point so that then they're not stupidly expensive. So I think what I'll have to do is a kind of expansion pack maybe later on. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm going to go get my iPad out and try and get the design finalized and then order the fabric. And once that's done, I'm going to get all my materials and supplies out and have a crafty afternoon making prototypes. Exciting update, guys. I managed to get the design for the seamless pattern and the fabric to a point where I absolutely love it. I'm going to put the design up here for you. And I've just ordered a sample meter from the manufacturer and it's shipping out on the 28th, so the end of this month. I don't know how long it's going to take to get here because it's coming from the States. Sorry for the slight angle change. Dexter decided to knock over my tripod. But I'm not sure how long it's going to take for the fabric to actually arrive because it's coming from the States. It does say it's going to ship at the end of the month, but then who knows how long it's going to take to get here. I'm hoping it's only going to be a few days because I am super excited to test fabric out, try it alongside the other materials and supplies that I have, and make sure that the sort of print ratio is how I want it and that it just meets the vision. And then I can start showing a few more of the sort of physical items to you guys. And I'm just, I'm so excited. I am so sorry. It is now Friday lunchtime and I have been rubbish at filming things this week. So I thought I would just get you up to speed and then share the rest of my day with you. So the last time I spoke to you, I was working on some prototypes and I was umming and ahhing about whether or not to share them with you, but I've decided as an apology for not filming anything for the last 2 days, I would in fact share with you the prototype. Now bear with me because this is a prototype and prototypes are not supposed to be perfect first time round, and it certainly is not. I have had a few challenges with this, but moving forward, I think I have some solutions to some of the issues. Said prototype, it is not how I want it to look at all, and also the colours, just bear with me, these are just some scraps and things I had floating around. So the main design part of it is correct. So the styles of the journal sleeves are going to be this sort of trifold design made with faux leather and then lined with fabric on the inside. I think I already told you that because I told you about the seamless pattern that I designed and then ordered as a custom print. So the first issue that I had was that this is just, it is way too flimsy. It's not very sturdy at all. The faux leather is a lot thinner than I anticipated. Some of the ones that I've ordered are a little bit thicker, but that's not what I'm going for here. So I did a little trial run with the leather and the fabric and different thicknesses and quantities of interfacing on the inside, and I think I've nailed it. So the first one, it didn't go too bad. I did 2 layers, one thick and one thin. It's still a bit floppy, not quite what I was going for. But then the final one that I did, this is a lot sturdier. There's literally no sort of flopping around. I think that's going to be a lot more durable. So I'm happy with that. The second issue that I had was the elastic. This elastic that I've ordered is just way too thick. It's really bulky on here, and I also had trouble attaching the charms to it, so I don't think this thickness of elastic is going to work. But that's fine. That's an easy fix. I've just ordered some slightly thinner elastic, so that's going to work fine. So the other issue I've had is with the eyelets on the side that has the elastic running through. I was originally using this really old set of eyelets that I had from a million years ago that only came with these 2 little manual tools. So the stamp, which punches a hole in the fabrics, and that's blunt as hell because I've had it forever. And then the tool that actually squishes it down and keeps it in place relies on me holding it very, very steady and perfectly angled. I tried 6 different times and only once did the eyelet come out looking perfect. The other thing with these ones is that, I don't know if I can show you, when they squish at the back, I don't know if you can see that, there's no official backing on these ones, so they just kind of look a bit messy, and that's not really the vibe I was going for. So I bought a new tool. This basically has a front and a back option, so that you squeeze it together and it's a lot more precise in clamping the 2 sides together and makes a far neater hole in the fabric, like so. I didn't quite line this up at the back properly, but it's a lot neater than what I was originally doing. I'm a lot happier with that. The holes are a bit bigger, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. And I've also ordered the eyelets in the correct metal because I'm not going to be using silver. So that's where I'm at with the prototypes. I'm now just going to wait for the correct color grommets to come and the new size elastic, just so that I can make sure that everything is exactly how I want it before I start going into production on the actual physical Bookish Buddies. So I guess I should also tell you now, because I'm going to be announcing it tomorrow on Instagram, is that these are the 2 styles of Bookish Buddy. So one is going to be the elastic interior. So it's going to have the elastics on the inside. Ignore how flimsy this is. It's going to be a lot more sturdy when it's done. Elastic insides, and you can insert the various different booklets in there, kind of like a traveler's journal. The other one is going to have a ring binder mechanism in it, so you can have the ring binder pages in there. So I'm really excited to show you those once they are in production and they're in the right colorway and they've got all the right materials and the right level of interfacing. So just trust me, this is attempt number 1. Trust me, they are going to look 100 times better than this when they're done. That being said, with the hole punch versions, I have started production of the page packs. So this is the first page pack, which I'm really excited about. These are the full review pages, and each pack comes with 10 sheets, which is enough to write 20 different reviews because it's front and back. And I just thought they just look so cute in their little plastic folders. And yeah, I've made my first 2 of those. Obviously, I'm going to have to make a lot more of these, but I just wanted to make sure that I could do them and that they looked as cute as I envisioned, and I think that they do. So I also did a list of all the new pages that I need to design ready for the herbalist theme, and I've got some work to do. I didn't really think about how many pages I would need to design for each theme. However, I did get started on those yesterday, and that's probably what I'm going to work on for the rest of the day today. I do need to also do some filming for TikTok and Instagram Reels. I currently have stock of my books ready for the author event I'm going to today. I know this isn't an author vlog specifically, but I am an author as well as a small business owner. So I will be taking you along for some of that today. I'm going to be filming the reels while I've got books, because hopefully I'm going to sell out at the author event today. And then I have checked with the event organisers and I am allowed to film at the event tonight. So I'm going to take you along to that as well. I'm really excited because I've got a new table set up. It's a lot more intentional than the previous table setup I had. So I'm going to be sharing that with you as well. But first of all, we're going to crack on with some drawing. So come along with me while I design one of the colouring pages for the herbalist theme of the Bookish Buddy. I owe you an apology, my friends. I don't know what is wrong with my brain today, but I just spent the better part of 2 hours designing one of the colouring pages for the Bookish Buddy, and I set my tripod up. It was all set up, it was ready to go, and I started drawing. And I use one of these little clicker things to start recording and stop the recording, and I started several times throughout the drawing process, thinking, oh, I'll have a few nice little clips to put together and create a nice little video for you. And then I realised I hadn't pushed the power on button on my clicky tool, so I didn't record anything, and I finished the drawing. So I'm really sorry I didn't film the process at all. I will now put the picture here for you to see, but I'm so sorry I did not capture myself drawing it at all. And on top of that, prior to doing the drawing, I decided to do all the filming for my TikToks and Insta Reels, and I forgot to record myself doing that as well. So I have zero footage to share with you for how I've spent my afternoon. I'm very sorry. I am definitely taking you with me this evening though, so hopefully I remember to push my clicker button. I have charged everything, so hopefully there's no danger of anything running out of battery or anything, and I'm just hoping that I managed to give you something more interesting than just me sat here talking to you. So I do apologise. This is still early days of me doing this YouTube channel, so hopefully I'll get more accustomed to just recording everything and not forget to record anything. So bear with me, guys, and I really appreciate your patience while I figure all this out. Okay, we are off to Tipsy Books. My bestie has just been to pick me up. Hi! Everything is in the boot, we are ready to go. I am super excited and a little bit nervous because this is only the second in-person event I'm ever doing, but I do feel a bit more prepared for this one, so that is a bonus. So I'll make sure that I film loads while I'm in there so that you can see what Tipsy Books looks like and some footage of the event. I've also been thinking today a little bit about whether or not it would be possible to do the Bookish Buddies in an in-person event, because normally I just do my books, and I think it would be a little bit tricky because of the mix and match customizable elements of it. But I think once I've got a good idea of what the bestsellers are in terms of the pages and the inserts, I might be able to just take the key core elements along and then have the option for people to purchase additional inserts and add-ons at a later date. But that's a long way off and I don't think that's something I'm going to be doing for the foreseeable future, but I just thought it was something interesting to have a little think about while I was planning for the event for today. So I'm going to stop filming now because my bestie's driving and I don't want to distract her, but I will film more when we get in there. We're here!
It's like, because it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I hate it. Me too. But it's essential, and you learn really quickly that if you don't tell people about your books, no one's going to know that you've written one. So I think there's an element of work smarter, not harder with it. So find something that works, rinse and repeat. The best piece of advice I had was you're not catering to your current readers, you're catering to new readers. So even if you post the same thing, like, hey readers, have you heard about this book series? People who already follow you have seen that reel 100 times, but that one time it gets to somebody new, that's what you want. Whereas what you get with indies is we get to decide the stories that we're telling, and they're not always that cookie cutter copy and paste type story. So you get something that's a bit more unique, something that's a bit more raw, and you can't get that through traditional publishing. So
you do it for the freedom.
So you do it for the freedom of being able to tell the story the way I want to tell it.
Now, you have a lot of friends that actually they're in the US, aren't they?
Yeah, all the ones that I wrote the anthology with, they're all American authors, and I'll tell you what, trying to organise that when they're on different time zones was a bit of a challenge.
So I do have a little side question actually for you based on that, because obviously the lovely Luna, we did her book for our book club last month. She came and did her first interview with us. We had such a scream, it was so fun. We were downstairs absolutely
I'm still
sweating.
getting hex threats, by the way.
But I was going to ask, so when you, obviously before that, you'd been really, really busy, you'd been on holiday, blah, 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 you hadn't written, you were a little bit stalled, and you came out going, wow, I'm so motivated, I'm going home to write 5,000 words tonight. Did that happen?
I'm going to just leave.
I didn't think so.
Okay, so I side quested a little hard. As you know, I've been working on I've been working on my reading journals.
So you've relaunched them.
So I've relaunched those.
Would you like to tell everyone what your page, because she does gorgeous reading journals, would you like to
they're called the Bookish Buddy, and they're being rebranded as a journaling system that can be completely customised. So you choose the sleeve version, and then you can pick and choose the inserts on what you want to include, because so many come pre-packaged that you kind of have all these extra pages in them that you don't really want or need, whereas I've designed mine now so that you can basically pick and mix, choose the elements and kind of build your own journal. Hello my friends, it is now Sunday and this week has gone by so freaking quickly. So just to catch up then, Friday night was amazing. I really enjoyed myself at the Tipsy Books fantasy author event. One of the authors wasn't there. I'm not quite sure why, whether or not they couldn't make it for any reason or whatever. I didn't ask because it's none of my business, but the other two authors that I met were absolutely lovely. I did buy a couple of each of their books because we have to support our fellow indies, which I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into. I also met some, I'm really sorry if the camera is wobbling now. Dexter's just laid down on the base of the tripod, so if there was a little wobble there, I'm very sorry. But as I was saying, I met a mixture of readers, some who had already read my books and were interested in what comes next, what I'm planning for the future, and I met some new readers who were all absolutely lovely, and most of which actually bought a book or two from me. I even had one lovely reader who bought my entire collection, which just blew my mind. So I'm so grateful to all of them. Then, as you saw, the host ran a Q&A with me and the other two authors. The questions were really good, and even when it was opened up to the participants, like the other readers that were there, the questions were so interesting and it was really fun to answer them, but also to hear the other two authors' answers, because as indies, everyone's journey is slightly different, and it was really interesting to see different perspectives and different takes on certain topics. I did actually attempt to film more when I was there, but as you've probably picked up by now from the rest of this video, I've been having some real issues with my little clicker. So I did have more footage from the event that I thought I'd filmed, but it just didn't film because of the issue with the clicker. And obviously you saw earlier in the video that I've had to add in a couple of clips just where I thought I'd recorded and I hadn't. So I'm trying to work around that moving forwards. I've now switched the volume on my phone because it's usually on silent. So now when I push the button, it does actually make a noise if it's successful and does actually start recording. So hopefully we won't run into any more of those issues. All of the footage that you saw of me in the interview also came from my bestie, who, as you know, accompanied me to the event. She filmed so much of the interview that the file size was absolutely massive, and we had a real issue transferring it from her to me because she lives about 30 minutes away from me, and so we were trying to do it digitally through email or WhatsApp or what have you. And bless her heart, she spent the better part of yesterday trying to get me a copy of the footage so that I could clip it for you. And so I just wanted to do a big shout out to my bestie. I really appreciate you and all of your support and your dedication to trying to make the event and this video a success. So I love you very much, bestie. Most of my day yesterday was spent editing, but I also did a little bit of gardening and spent some time with my partner because, as I've already said, the previous weekend I didn't spend any time with her because I was very busy doing the digital Bookish Buddy launch. And then today it has just been baking hot. So we've both been trying to keep it really cool. I took Dexter out for his walk really early this morning just because the temperatures are bonkers outside right now. But again, I've spent the day doing the rest of the editing, and I think this is a really good place to end the video. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you so much for coming along on this adventure with me this week. Next week is going to be a little bit more chill, I think. We're going to have a bit of a cozier week. I haven't got any events or launches or anything really exciting planned, but I am going to try and get really stuck in with some of the designing of the new pages ready for the herbalist theme, and I promise I'm going to get those recorded so you can come along with me on that. I'm also going to do some more work on some of the physical elements. I think next week I'm going to work on some of the stickers and sticker sheets. So if that sounds like a good time, then please hit that subscribe button and come and follow along next week. It just helps YouTube know that what I'm putting out there you guys are finding entertaining. And once again, thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope you have a magical rest of your weekend and a fantastic week next week, and that all your reads are 5 stars. Until next time.